Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. You can't make certain things up. Crazy, crazy times we live in. By the way, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you had a good long weekend if you had the day off, whatever. But I just want to tell you, doesn't matter what you were doing, how much fun you were having, you live in a crazy world. We live in what I call a caricature of the real America. It's a funhouse mirror. You go stand there and you go, whoa, why am I shaped like an hourglass? Well, okay, why am I shaped like an apple? Well, I don't know. Whatever your shape may be. Some of you are shaped like apples. Some of you are shaped like hourglasses. But you get what I'm saying. It is a funhouse mirror. You're not looking at the real representation of yourself, a.k.a. America. When you consider the Hillary Clinton story, what she tried to do to get elected, tell me, folks, does Stephen King have this much imagination? I mean, I've looked at it. I've watched the thing about the grave where the kid kept coming back, and I've watched Cujo and all kinds of crazy movies. Something Wicked This Way Comes, I think is what I was thinking about. Whatever Stephen King can conjure up, I don't think he could have conjured up anything more crazy and wicked than Hillary Clinton. If we knew the truth, I said it with an F. If we knew the truth, we would be scared to death of this government. I don't think Brad Thor, who's one of my friends, one of the best political, thriller writers in the country, in the world, I don't think Brad Thor could have come up with a story like Hillary Clinton. Tom Clancy is rolling over in his grave going, I couldn't have even considered something like this. This is the man that wrote The Hunt for Red October, Flight of the Intruder. He knew politics inside out, intrigue, spy thrillers. None of them could have predicted where we sit today, where the level of collusion that occurred between the FBI, the NSA, the FISA courts, a sitting president, for goodness sakes. Secretary of State who worked in conjunction with her husband to set up a crooked foundation so they could milk the world of hundreds of millions of dollars and kill anybody that would dare try to narc on them. A woman who would put a server, not use the official State Department server, would stick a server in the basement bathroom closet, hire a separate IT guy, then when she's caught, say, oh, well, I didn't really break the rules and maybe I could have used better judgment, as she deletes 33,000 emails, bleach bits her hard drives, destroys with hammers her cellular communication devices and so on and so forth, and then threatens anybody that would dare tell on her with death. Tell me you know somebody that could write that thriller for you. And in terms of colluding with the sitting president, he's telling the FBI, keep me posted. He says, I didn't know she had her own separate server. I found out like everybody else. And then we find out that he knew because he was using a code email to talk to her through her email. And who knows what they colluded about. He's the one that she, by the way, we're not even done with her. She creates a fake dossier, hires a company to do so, about her opposition, the guy that she chose because she already had the deck stacked against him. But meanwhile, what does she do? She buys the DNC with all this newfound money, part of which came from the Russians with her former campaign director, the Podesta brothers, who worked to get this uranium deal where the United States sells 20% of its uranium under the nose of the very president that they wanted. So she gets that deal done, uses that money to buy the DNC, uses that money to fund her dossier, uses that money to fund her campaign, opposition strategy, funding people like the Fusion GPS, giving $50,000 to Bruce Orr, an FBI agent whose wife worked at the company, giving $700,000 to the campaign of an FBI director, Andy McCabe, so his wife can run in Virginia, and on and on. That's just for starters. Then she colludes to get Bernie Sanders to get out of the race and threatens his life, so he decides he's going to help her because he wants to live, man. He wants to live. This is the crazy time we live in. You tell me somebody that would write that story and go, yeah, that's plausible. FBI then takes a fake dossier, they give it to Yahoo News, and then says, oh, hey, Yahoo News has verified this, so we're going to now take our fake dossier back. We're going to issue FISA warrants and go spy on a private citizen, and we're going to start leaking things. He's going to think he's losing his mind. We're going to then get the media to be complicit, to not even follow up on the other stories, the obvious stuff. That's how we're going to do it. That's just for starters, folks. Crazy times? What about the emasculation of men? Do we really need to talk about this? What about the masculation of women? Is that even a word? It is now. What about, my grandmother used to say, she's mannish. When she said a girl, what she was saying is that girl seems gay because she's mannish. She acts mannish. That's what she was saying. So we got transgender legislation for the military. The military. We got gays signing up because somebody's got, let's just use the military as a social experiment. So we got gays for that. We got bathrooms for transgender people. You could go to jail for using the wrong pronoun for somebody in California, or be sued for calling Bill Susan or Susan Bill if they want to be called by their other names. And all you can do is look at a driver's license, but don't you dare use what's on their driver's license. Leftists want to jail you for not believing in global climate farce. They tell us that that's the most important thing, the highest priority, potential thing that could destroy the world is if the seas rise too much or some glacier melts, and they're not even melting. Nothing, not even a modicum of truth to anything they've said, any of their data. They claim that there's things like white privilege, which means blacks are an underclass. So, hey, so what, Negroes? You got to believe what I tell you now. You're an underclass. I've got privilege. They call college kids have been made into snowflakes. And there's a host of other insanely bad news, folks. But let me tell you something. The good news is that these fools exist and they've been outed. They've been outed by you. You and Donald Trump. We got a lot to talk about.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. I thought I had these stats handy the other day, and I didn't. I went from memory, and here's what I will tell you in the memory area. The average number of deaths per day, and I'm comparing this to the number of rifles, because we're gonna be in this gun debate for a little while, because that's how the left behave. So here are the average number of deaths per day. Abortions, 1,778. Medical errors, 687. Accidents, 401. Drunk driving, 28. Rifles, less than 1 per day. Actually, it's 0.68. So the number of rifles where people die per day, however you can call them assault rifles, you can call them whatever you want, less than 1 per day. 365, it's less than that. It's 0.68 times 365. So whatever that turns out to be, 300, whatever it is, that's how many. There are more people who are killed in bus crashes. Just putting it in perspective. There was a Charlie Kirk. I'll be speaking at his event in Chicago in April. He says in 2010, 48,000 felons and fugitives lied and illegally tried to purchase guns. The Obama administration prosecuted 44 of them. All right? That'll put it in perspective, maybe. I don't know. Just hoping it will. Another tweet came from this, and I'm talking about leftist culture here. The reason why I'm talking about leftist culture is because all these problems that we're talking about are because of leftism. Every single one of them. Anyway, Funky Town, I always use his tweets. He's a sharp dude or a girl or whatever. Hot Funky Town, at Hot Funky Town. Said this: we filled our children's heads with filth of Hollywood, where millions of dollars are made in glorifying murder, video games that entice young people to find sport in killing. Our young people are craving attention and end up rotting in front of screens. Parents don't parent. Now I'll tell you this. Every parent is guilty of probably allowing their kids too many indulgences, video games, not getting out and playing the way they normally would, watching too much TV, maybe eating too much food. I don't know. Multiple things, right? We've all been there at some point if you've parented children. But here's what I'll tell you. Leftists use it. They will medicate a child so they can go out to, and party. Some of them will even kill their children so they can go party. That's what they are. They're just the worst parents, they're the worst citizens, and they blame everything but themselves. Practically everything that we are talking about today in politics revolves around leftists shirking their responsibilities. That's their culture. They get mad at you when you explain it to them. They get mad at you when you try to dig down. When you you say, look, okay, we understand that there are kids shooting up schools. And then you pull out statistics and say, well, so here's where we see this kids shooting out schools. They're latchkey kids. They don't have parents. Two parents, maybe the dad is in prison, whatever. Or as they said about this kid, maybe he had girl troubles or he was bullied or whatever. But the problem becomes the gun, when in fact the problem is that deeper societal issue that nobody wants to get to. Same thing with Black Lives Matter and pigs in a blanket. I was on TV the other day arguing about a group of students telling the police, get the F off our campus. And they're trying to keep them separated from Nazis. And they're telling the cops, get the F off of our campus. And then they wonder, they say they're civil, they're tolerant. What are these police officers? The police officers didn't show up there because they just decided, you know what, let's go over there and harass the college kids or go support the Nazis. They went there because somebody said, hey, look, we need to make sure that nothing happens here. So let's be careful, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. This is where we are. Anyway, so they denigrate the police officers. Black Lives Matter tells you that it's a cop problem, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, and you've heard me talk about this, so this is nothing new. I'm just going to put a different spin on it. But there's the blacks that are talking about these issues with police are the very same blacks who vote for everybody in government who is their oppressor. I mean, what do you want me to... How can you fix a problem that you won't even admit exists? Holy cow, man, this is amazing. I'm thinking about... We talked about the movie already, Black Panther. And what was funny, somebody tweeted that it's a fictitious... This Walandra or whatever the world is that the Black Panther is in is a fictitious world with a big wall around it, and it's only got the citizens of Walandra in it. And that's what the left, that's Trump's utopia. You know what I'm saying? That would be Trump's utopia. It just cracks me up. They don't even see the fallacies of their own work. Black Panther protects, well, I don't know if he's protecting Walandra from people trying to get in, but wouldn't that just be something? I would love it. Love it. I'm never going to see the film unless it comes to cable. But I would love it if they showed this film. And this film had nothing but a bunch of Mexicans trying to get into Walandra. Wouldn't that be funny? Honestly, the left are too stupid to see that they are nothing but destructive. You look at everything that we try to do as conservatives, everything that we try to do, we say, you know what? It has to benefit everybody. It might hurt us. When Trump says he's going to pass a tax plan, he's like, you know what? It's going to hurt me because I deserve it. I've made a lot of money. I don't need all this money. I'm okay with that. There are many things that we do as conservatives where we are, you know, that's cool. It's okay if we don't benefit from it. I think that's the definition of it. That's like the selflessness that you have for your children, for example. You'd give your life for your kids. So we do these types of things because I'm talking about conservatives, we're willing to sacrifice because it's for the greater good. There's not a leftist program, honestly, that they will claim that it is. They claim that they wanted Obamacare for everybody to get that. They did not want it for that. They claim that they want to open the borders for these reasons. All they want these things for are to hurt people. That is their culture. It is filthy. And meanwhile, look at the things that I just talked about earlier. Abortions killing people, medical errors. And then you get down to rifles and they want the guns. They don't care about stopping abortions. They don't care about stopping medical malpractice. Accidents, 401 per year. Per day is how people die. You're going to outlaw accidents?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Glad you guys are with me. I hope you enjoy what we do. I really do. And, here's the thing I do. When I do this radio show, I'm really entertaining myself, and I hope that you are entertained. I'm telling you, when I put the show together, I ask myself, what is the real angle here? What's the thing that we should be thinking about? Like I'm thinking about this movie, Black Panther. And all the orchestration, they got to make it bigger than life. It's become black, the blackness. It isn't about the animal that exists as a Black Panther. That animal has to be personified as an African American panther, right? It's a Marvel freaking comic. But no, they got to make it bigger than that. Black Hollywood people, we're going to buy out the theater so everybody gets to see it. That's not why they're doing it. They want it to be the biggest thing ever so it can appear that there's some, call out for blackness. And here's what I do like about it. It's an empowering film. That's a good thing. I might have gone to see it just for that reason. But I won't see something that somebody tells me. I want to drive you to it for all the wrong reasons. I love the Marvel comics. Luke Cage is a black Marvel hero. Check out that series. Actor, I've never seen the guy, but he does a great job in the film. It's mostly a black cast. It is a really good film or series, whatever TV series it's on Netflix. That's why I watched it. I thought it was great. I'm waiting for the next season. But they didn't make it. Yes, they did some overly black stuff. Don't misunderstand me. They had to make it about, they went back into the history of some people and all that. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. White folks can do that in their movies. I just look at it as this isn't black history. It's American history. But they get a little over the top. But it's okay. The series is still good. And it's black people that are, what's funny about it is it's a bunch of crooked black people doing exactly what the Congressional Black Circus does. And that's the reason you need this guy, Luke Cage, because he's stopping these corrupt black politicians from running over the city, running over Harlem or wherever else. But I just find it so strange. And the messages that the left continue to want to, push out on us. These shootings are a great example. They show you things. It shows you the chasm between us and them. See, this movie Black Panther should just be a movie that you go, man, I love Marvel films. I love the superhero genre, whether it's, Iron Man or Spider-Man or Superman or the Justice League or what's the other one with the Puerto Rican thing, Captain America, whatever. I should just want to see it. But they show us the chasm. They got to divide us in a movie. And they want to glorify everything. This school shooting, I'm telling you, folks, look, we're all one people. But leftism is brutal. Pay attention. It's brutally wrong. See, leftism doesn't solve any problems. Leftism is not introspective of itself. It doesn't look to improve. It has no process that says, circle back and see if whatever you've learned is something that you need to keep as a lesson so you get better. It's like, taking your kid to the batting cage. If you're a leftist, the day one is as good as it gets. That kid is going to be swinging. She is never going to learn to look at the ball until it hits the bat. And it doesn't matter how fast the pitch is, they're going to get their 1 out of 10 and they're going to throw tantrums because they're not getting any better. They're never going to improve. You take your kid to the batting cage and you're watching and you're telling them and you're encouraging and you're explaining what they're doing wrong. And as they go, they get better. That's how conservatism works. Leftists, you could take them to the driving range. Every time it's like starting over every day. It's Groundhog Day every single day. Yeah, it solves no problems. Now, aren't you mad? Let me tell you why. You should be mad because this shooting that occurred last week has been hyped beyond belief. It's as if we've never had one of these that happened before. It's as if the left forget all their sensibilities and it's all about the gun. But here's what's true about every shooter practically known to man. Number one, it is not a Republican. Number two, the shooter is not somebody who practices the religion of conservatism, but the religion of Christianity, and it's not going to be a Jew. Number three, no shooter has been an NRA member. Number four, the FBI probably failed. Don't even get me started because I already told you guys the left wants us to glorify, to deify the FBI. They're a great organization, man. The FBI, on multiple occasions, you know it and I know it, have been told, look, here's something wrong here. If you see something, say something, right, Janet? So we've been seeing something, saying something. You know what these clowns do? They do nothing. But they want us to respect them. Respect them. Because why? They got FBI, Efren Zimbalist Jr. Didn't you watch the show Kevin Jackson? Yeah, I did. There was a time when I believed in the FBI, and it makes me wonder if I was even right to believe in them back then. But I did watch Mississippi Burning, and they did stop the white people, finally, them Democrats, from hanging black folks. So I'll give them credit for that. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't have the level of I don't canonize the FBI the way some people do. because I found them to be incompetent. And worse than that, once this shooting occurred, and it was, everybody felt sorry. Initially, the focus was on the gun. Then we heard that the shooter, a guy named Nicholas Cruz, was disturbed. And suddenly, the media got punked. And multiple outlets said that Nicholas Cruz was a white supremacist. And I remember I said immediately, there is no way this dude is a white supremacist. I started tweeting and said, that is absolute nonsense. I forget, I said some funny tweets. I should get them. Maybe you can pull them up real quick. Anyway, so I'm tweeting. It is ridiculous. The only thing that Nicholas Cruz was, that we can be guaranteed he was a leftist, a product of leftism. Put into schools, indoctrinated throughout, didn't learn how to behave, never knew how to interact with kids, because for whatever reason, probably because he learned the way of the left. And so then they kick him out. They take his trophy away. He comes back mad and shoots people up. Let me tell you this. If he's a white supremacist, he sucks at it. He killed 17 or whatever number of people, and the majority of them were white. If he was a really good white supremacist, the first thing that sucker should have done is headed over to the black side of town and shot up a black school. Why? Was he afraid? You better believe he was afraid, because likely some black kid was packing in the school. And he'd have rattled off 3 shots. They said, one guy said, I heard 3 shots, pop, pop, pop. And after that, you would have heard a 4th and a 5th and a 6th going back at him, pop, pop, pop. And he would have probably been dead. He knew not to go over there and mess with the Negroes. Anyway, Piers Morgan said this: breaking, Florida shooter terrorist Nicholas Cruz was a white supremacist. Can you even imagine how fast laws would be changed if he'd been a Muslim shooter terrorist? Hey, Pierce, in case you didn't know, he wasn't a white supremacist shooter. Ben Shapiro retweeted back to Piers Morgan. Yes, I remember how those laws drastically changed after Omar Mateen murdered 49 people at a gay nightclub, and Syed Farouk and Tashfeen Malik murdered 14 at a community center. Yeah. See, what's funny, these leftists don't even think about what they say. They just spout off. If Muslims had done it, they would be changing the laws. Muslims have done it. They've done it over and over. They've done it worldwide. And the only laws we want to change is we want to know who's coming into this country. And again, if you see something, say something. Because I'm going to tell you something. I ain't politically correct. I will tell you, yeah, there's a Muslim dude that lives over here. He does this, blah, blah, blah. Here's his name. Here's what he looks like. I've been casing the joint. Got my video camera out there. Blah, blah, whatever. I'm raising pigs now. I'll get over it. You don't even try with me. Anyway, this guy, Peter Sweden, I follow him because he talks a lot about what's happening in Sweden. And he says, so it turns out the Florida shooter was not a white supremacist, as the mainstream media reported. The media fell for a 4chan troll and published it as fact, despite being completely unverified. In their hysteria, the MSM have gone to a new low. No, they haven't. This is not a new low. It's the same low. Just at a bargain basement. Here's some interesting things. Cruz, spelled C-R-U-Z, not cruise as if you are white privilege taking a vacation. Not that kind of cruise. And the media jumps on the story of a white supremacist shooting up a school that's got a Mexican surname. And as I said earlier, who did he shoot? Almost all white kids. Was his aim off? No. He shot exactly who he wanted. He shot the kids who'd been teasing him, or the administrative staff, or the people that kicked him out, or I don't know, people that just misunderstood him. But a white supremacist doesn't go to his little lily white school and shoot up a bunch of lily white kids. That's not what he does. And they knew that. They want to propagate this stupid narrative. They want to propagate the narrative that the gun jumped up and said, hey, fool, get up. We got to go to work. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, Mr. Gun. Let me get you and go shoot a bunch of people, dozens of people, killing and wounding them. This is the craziness we face every day, folks, from leftism. You want to let them win? I ain't letting these clowns win. As a matter of principle, they will not win. Not with me.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I have a contention that the American leftist education system breaks kids. It doesn't build kids into good, solid, well-adjusted human beings. It breaks kids. You send your kids to school and I'm saying conservatives, you send your kids to school, they are adjusted, they understand right from wrong, they understand consequences, accountability, all these different lessons that you should learn by the time you're, say, 10 years old. And by the time these kids graduate high school, all of it's gone. It's out the window. Yeah, it makes sure that they get broken. Probably, in junior highs when they really just take that sledgehammer like Hillary Clinton did her Blackberries and break the hard drive. And by the time they get out of high school, they're completely done in. Demoralized. Fish got to swim, birds got to fly, but not with leftists. Everybody must move the same way. Can't have an animal with an advantage, ergo other animals having a disadvantage. Just can't have that. I mean, if everybody jumps in the water, the monkey's got to be able to swim as good as the fish. If everybody's on land, the fish has to be able to perform like a leopard. That's just the way leftism works. It doesn't see that everything has its purpose. I mean, as silly as it sounds, and I know you guys are going to laugh at me, but something as lowly as a dung beetle has a purpose. All these animals on the Serengeti or some desert, some plain in Africa or elsewhere are going across the land and they're just dropping their dung. And here's a beetle. God saw it in his greatness to create a beetle that will take that dung, roll it up into balls, and use it to bring another generation of these beetles, but to clean the plains. And what's left leaves a little barrier of fertilizer. Because let me tell you, you don't want stuff that grows purely in dung. Oh, they'll tell you, well, it's compost. They got all kinds of cutesy names for it, but you want it to grow in soil that's been fertilized by taking some of the nutrients out of the droppings and creating that ecosystem. But the dung beetle serves a purpose. Put a different way, and I'm certainly not calling these people dung beetles, but if you want to put it into terms of cleaning things up, like in an aquarium, you got that sucker fish, or you got snails. They're going down at the bottom of the ocean, or the bottom of the aquarium in this case, and they are eating the excrement of the fish. And occasionally you got to take all the rocks out and clean it, but the snails keep it to where you don't have to do it as often. And those sucker fish, in human terms, we have janitors. They clean up our dung. We have waste management professionals that clean up our dung, plumbers that clean up our dung. These jobs aren't the greatest jobs in the world. They aren't the sexiest jobs out there, but they're good jobs. And they're necessary, but not for the left. For the left, nope, everything has to, be the way, everybody has to be equal, or at least they tell you that. They want you to believe that, But they've got their janitors, they've got their housekeepers, their nannies, their pool boys, their lawn boys, and whatever else, and they rely on them. However, I can't tell you how many leftists I've heard talk about, I need, why are you going to send all the Mexicans back? Who's going to do our pools and who's going to do our lawns? It's like, really? Like that's the only people that can do that job. Who's going to clean the hotels? Let me tell you something. You go overseas, I lived in China. It was Chinese people cleaning hotels. It wasn't black people. It wasn't Latinos. So what are they talking about? Anyway, they break these kids. There was an article that talks about this even more because my contention is by the time a kid graduates high school, they're broken, damaged goods, then they get to college, and by college, it's really too late. And Michael Barone wrote this of college, and he says in the 1989 article in New Republic, Andrew Sullivan made what he called a conservative case for gay marriage. Today, same-sex marriage is legal everywhere in America, supported by majorities of voters, and accepted as American life. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second and say I accept gay marriage, and I use my finger quotes on marriage, in the sense that gay people can be together. I don't care. But what I think the bigger point that he's making is we don't look at two gay people living together, certainly not like it was in the 60s. We've evolved as conservatives to say, I don't really care. He goes on to say this. Now Sullivan has cast his gaze on what he regards as a disturbing aspect of American life, the extension of speech suppression and identity politics from colleges and universities into the larger society. The hothouse plant of campus mores have become invasive species, undermining and crowding out the beneficent flora of the larger free Democrat society. Sullivan can be seen as a kind of undercover spy on campuses to which he is invited often to speak because of his bona fides as a cultural reformer by those probably ignorant of the parenthetical conservative in his 1989 article. As Jonathan Rauch did in his 2004 book, Gay Marriage, Sullivan argued that same-sex, by including those previously excluded, would strengthen rather than undermine family values and bourgeois domesticity. Now seems like it's happening, he says. The spread of campus values to the larger society would, and is intended to, have the opposite effect. So he says, take the proliferation of campus speech codes. Americans of a certain age have trouble believing that colleges and universities have rules banning hurtful speech. They can remember when campuses were the part of America most open to dissent. Now students are disciplined for handing out copies of the Constitution outside of a tiny, isolated free speech zone. The Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, known as FIRE, keeps a tally of campus speech restrictions and challenges codes and actions that violate the First Amendment in public institutions or private schools' own commitments. And in 2018, they listed the 10 worst colleges for free speech, and they included Harvard, Northwestern, Fordham, the University of California, Berkeley. This is a big deal, folks. See, it used to be a campus would come up with these ideas because it allowed so much interaction and people to communicate. And in the way of gay marriage, and I'm using, gays being together, I'm not going to call it marriage, but in terms of gays being together, I would tell you, maybe college did a good thing by saying, you know what, take the stigma off of it. It exists, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't think they get to the heart of the matter. I don't think they get to the other underlying issues regarding the creation of gaiety. Everybody wants you to buy into the notion that it's all, they were all born this way. That's nonsense. They weren't. Many gays were made. Kids get their sexuality tested by older people. That's why, even though we may look at an older woman, pursuing a younger man, some of these teachers, 20-something-year-old teachers going after these teenage boys, we may look at it as kind of a joke. I personally have, because I've seen some of these teachers and I said, sign me up when I was a kid. But that doesn't apply to everybody. And it could have an impact on your sexuality. Not so much that you're going to be gay, but who you choose as a mate. It can influence you in that way. So in that respect, it's probably not a good thing. Certainly, I'd look at a 20-something or 30-something-year-old man dating a 15-year-old high school girl as something wrong, even though that high school girl, I went to school with some of these girls and went, wow. I thought it makes me think back on this teacher. I remember one of my, a girl who was a year younger than I was, probably in like the 8th grade, having an affair with an older coach, one of the coaches. So all I'm getting at is this. There are things that have evolved from college that are things that should make us think. Why should I interfere with however somebody wants to live and however that came about? I don't really have a care in the world, but I do care if the person was created and let's go back and look at how that creation occurred. So if a little boy was molested and believes himself to be gay, but he's not, I think that we have to get to the underlying core of that. That's what I'm getting at. But if that didn't happen and he wanted to explore his sexuality in some way that disagrees with me, who am I to stop this person from enjoying life with another man, even though I don't agree with it? So maybe there was some good that came out of it. But there's a ton now that's bad. Because now, if you say, I disagree with the lifestyle, even though I don't care if they want to do, oh yeah, there you are, homophobic. If you disagree with anything these knuckleheads say, you're some type of phobic, and they want to shut you down. He won't stop
until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive
college is broke.
This is the Kevin Jackson
Radio Show. It breaks our kids,
Show.
And then it continues to break them into smaller and smaller pieces. What are we going to do about it? I've got some answers.
The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Everybody, what'd you do on President's Day? That's right. You lefties listening to the Kevin Jackson Show. Donald Trump is your president. Ha ha ha. And you know what else? Here's what's even better. Barack Obama is not. Yeah, you don't have to thank us now. You can thank us as your checks get bigger, as your 401ks grow, as you have safer neighborhoods, as your schools improve, as your life overall improves. You can thank us later, you intelligentsia, you people that believe you're so freaking smart. Don't worry. We're not going to rub it in your faces. Well, yeah, we kind of are. Oh, man, Joy Reid says she's had 2 years, 2 President's Days without a president. Yeah, she's upset with Donald Trump. I've had 2 President's Days and I don't even have a president. She's all upset because she says Donald Trump doesn't represent America that she... I don't know what values does she hold. Let me ask her this. Does Joy Reid like it when illegals come into our country, kill people, rape people, sell drugs, human traffic, etc.? Is that the country she wants? Does she want a nuclear Iran, a nuclear North Korea? This all we are saying is give peace a chance kind of woman? Huh? What does she want? Does she want good schools for black kids? Does she want black kids in school? Does she want Latino kids in school? What does she want? What exactly does Donald Trump represent? Oh, he grabbed a woman by this. What, in metrosexual Barack didn't? But Barack didn't grab some dude by the naughty bits? Look, I don't know what Barack Obama did in his personal life. I think the dude is bisexual. I do. I think Reggie Love was his, they called him his, they call him something man, like his wingman or something. Reggie Love was Barack Obama's lover. That's what I believe. But here's the thing. I don't care. When you say something like that, look at you trying to denigrate the press. I'm not. I don't care who Barack Obama wants to sleep with. I don't. I just find it odd that he doesn't want to admit it. And neither does anybody around him. I think Barack Obama loves Muslims more than he loves Christians. That's not a slam. I love Christians more than I love Muslims. I love anybody that's not trying to kill me, but I happen to love Christians because you know what? We aren't going around committing jihad. But it doesn't mean I hate somebody else. I don't mind admitting that. I'm a Christian, and I don't believe that other religions are silly or anything like that. I think the Jews are amazing people. I tell people this all the time. To be Jewish, that is a group of people that have done things that I don't know that any other group of people in the world could do, coming back together in building their state of Israel. I'm impressed. I'm going to Jerusalem to hang out with the Jews. I don't believe in the religion. I don't practice it. It doesn't, they don't practice mine. So, this idea that we hate, that's ridiculous. I don't hate illegal immigrants. I hate when they come to our country and take our resources and certainly do it ahead of legals and then take the money and the things that we're trying to save for our citizens. We got a lot of people to take care of before I start worrying about how many people Mexico wants to send over. I was talking to the guy the other day. He's trying to, what do you believe? What do you not like? Is there anything that you liked as a Republican and didn't like as a Democrat? From the Democrats and didn't like from the Republicans, like trying to get me all twisted up. I'm like, let me explain something to you, broski. I don't care whose legislation or whatever you want to look at. I don't care about a person's political persuasion. What I care about is do their policies. I get it out. Do their policies do something good for the country or not? That's all I care about. I don't look at it as, it can't be good if a Republican didn't do it. See, that's what the Democrats do. You can tell them, what do you think about illegal immigration? Because Donald Trump is for illegal immigration. And, if Donald Trump's for illegal immigration, I'm for illegal immigration. You don't see those videos being made by us or about us, conservatives. Because if Donald Trump were for illegal immigration, I would be against Donald Trump, period. These people, they have no core. You give them a Donald Trump policy, put Barack Obama's name on it, they're all for it. And then when you tell them, well, that was Barack Obama's policy, which we played a video of that, audio of a guy doing that, I don't know, about a month ago. And these people were mad. They wanted him kicked off of campus. One guy threatened to beat his butt. I would love to be doing one of those interviews. And I say, so, what do you think about this policy? I hate that policy because it was Donald Trump's policy. And I go, that was Barack Obama. Man, that's sad. You should be doing that stuff. I ought to whoop your butt. I would put the microphone down and say, you know what? I've been dying for this chance. One of you guys, I knew somebody was going to finally mess up and say, you wish you could kick my butt. Well, here I am. Hold my microphone, take off this earpiece. Do your thing, brother. And it isn't because I'm trying to be all Tommy Tough butt. It's because I'm sick of these people. When you catch them in their own lies, then they get mad at you. And what do they want to do? They want to cause you physical harm. Well, you can't do that to me. You don't have the skill set, my friend. The only people that can do it are the people that are training a lot. And I mean a lot. And even some of them are going to get the surprise of their lives. I'm not going to be pushed around. I don't know how you feel, but I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm not going to have people tell me what to say on my Facebook page, tell me what to say on my Twitter feed. And when they come back hard at me and people go, Kevin, I can't believe that you said that. That's just so mean or whatever. Screw you. That you don't have to follow me on Twitter or Facebook or radio or anywhere else or TV. If you don't like what I say, go find something else to do because I'm not changing. It's just not going to happen. Look, these people don't want to celebrate President's Day because of Barack Obama. What do you not like about this man? Just give me one thing. Oh, well, he did this to a woman. Did he do it to you? Has it been proven? No, none of these things. So if you can't prove it and nobody else is complaining, you need to move on. Now, what's next? You don't like his foreign policy, the fact that he brings money to the table. You don't like his economic policy and how our economy is looking right now in America. You don't like that? You don't like your 401k, your stock, whatever you're buying? What do you not like? Just give me a reason. Give me a reason to love you back. Boom, boom, boom. It cracks me up. I listen to Joy Reid and these stupid leftists, gun control and shooting up school, like it's Donald Trump's fault. Oh, yeah, that never happened until Donald Trump became president. Now, gun control, gun control, gun control. Barack Obama had a chance to do gun control. What did he do? Obamacare. Now, which was more important, Obamacare or gun control? Apparently Obamacare. And when did he work on gun control? How many school shootings, mass shootings did this man preside over? He did nothing. They don't want anything, folks. All they want to do is complain. You want to solve the problem, which is liberalism.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. The Parkland shooting provides a short little respite, a reprieve, if you will, from the bad news of Democrats on Russia collusion. Think about it. 13 indictments. Get to that more in just a bit. But 13 indictments. And what are these guys talking about? They're talking about the Parkland shooting and guns. And just so you guys are aware, the Democrats have proven, the leftists, the progressives, they will not stop until they get your guns. Trust me, it will never end. The shootings that happen every single day, handguns in Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, whatever, all over the country, they don't say a word. One school gets shot, tragically so. 17 people killed, whatever the number ends up being, and they have oh my gosh, the guns, the AR-15. You got, what's his face? Kasich in Ohio talking about what would it do to you if you got rid of an AR-15? Nothing. We'll make an AR-16 or an AR-18. What does the AR-15 have to do with anything? I've given you stats. Less than one rifle gun death per day in America. 300 a year. More people die of accidents in a day. More people die of car crashes in a day. More people die of poisonings. More people die of medical malpractice in a day than get killed by rifles all year. Handguns, which they claim they don't have a problem with. Do you know how many people are shot and killed? That's a Chicago weekend. They don't say anything until it's tragically a long gun, a rifle. It's nothing but an AR-15 is a rifle. It's not even that big of a deal. There are more powerful rifles in the country than an AR-15. I mean, I don't know where these guys go to school, but that's just a rifle. And I don't know if you've ever really looked at a rifle, but if you shave down the barrel and you cut the stock, it's a pistol. It's a powerful pistol. The only thing that giving it length does is lengthen the range of the shot. That's it. That kid could have easily taken a pistol and done identically the same thing. He wasn't sniping. He wasn't shooting from 300 yards away. He was shooting at point blank range. What do they think is going to happen? I think Rand Paul or somebody said, what would it have done? What difference would it have made if he couldn't have gotten an AR-15? What could he have not? What else would he have been able to do? Do you want him to have bolt action? Is that what it is? It wouldn't have mattered. Holy cow. And now they say Trump doesn't care. He gave a speech and he didn't care. Yeah, they said his otherwise stoic air, it was unclear whether he was stumbling over the words on his teleprompter or displaying emotion. His shoulders slumped heavily as he walked away from the podium, but that may have reflected the uncomfortable questions about gun control that reporters were shouting at him at the time. Gun control. Let me tell you something. There is no way in double cricket socks I give up a gun. I will absolutely destroy you if you try to take them. If you say you got to turn them in, I'm not turning any in. So here's the deal, leftists. Take them. Come take those 800 million guns that exist from law-abiding citizens and try to make some kind of an issue over it. Because let me tell you something. This is not going to be Thailand. This is not going to be Russia. This is not going to be the Soviet Union or places where they take your rifle away and then they destroy everybody who talks against the government. Because you all know who's going first. Kind of sounds a little bit like me and others, Limbaugh and Ingram and Levin and Hannity and others. They want your guns, and they aren't going to do anything until they get it unless you change their culture. Gun control nuts. That's what they are. They are gun control nuts. Anybody that doesn't understand that a gun allows you to protect your person and to protect your property is a gun control nut. Don't tell me what kind of gun to own to protect my person or to protect my property. Law-abiding gun owners we are the reason that America has remained safe since we began as a country. We are the reason, not the military, not the government. And not these unarmed sissies that just, for whatever reason, you don't want to deal with guns. That's your problem. It's unbelievable that we have to, they call it common sense gun control. How about common sense leftist control? Every time we hear about one of these clowns that shoots up something, it's either, oh, they were off their meds or whatever. Democrats shut down the system that would allow somebody to be put away in the insane asylum and looked at and understood and given, whatever drugs they need to take to be good, solid citizens. So now these people walk the streets. And then they claim, oh, well, they can't, those people can't get guns. If you want to get a gun, it's like saying you can't get dope. You're 13 years old and you can't get dope. You can get dope. You can get cigarettes. You can get hookers at 13 if you want them. The left, they give you all these, the things that the indulgences and then go, oh, you can't have it. They make laws that say, oh, you can't have this or that. The laws are there to be followed. And you know why? Who doesn't follow the laws? Everybody really want me to go into that? Who wants to allow for illegal immigration? Who wants to allow for refugees to come over, however they decide, without any checks or balances? Who is always looking at ways to thwart the law? I think you know the answer. It's lunacy that we engage in these discussions. Every time a leftist tells you gun control, you should yell in their face. If you think you're ever going to get my gun, you tried, you crazy leftist, you gun control freak. Because that's what you are. If you want to control a gun from somebody having the ability to protect themselves, you are a freak, because law-abiding gun owners commit such a minuscule amount of crime, it's ridiculous. If you want to take guns away, you are a rape culture person because you want women to be raped. You want black people to be subservient. Guns and the NRA are the reason why black people remained free. You racist. See how that works? It's not that tough. Common sense says I'm going to use what's ever at my disposal to protect myself. I'll put it to you this way, folks listening to this program. You are not the baddest people on the planet. If somebody wants to break into your house, force you to do something, force your family to do something, force the dog to do something, there is little you can do. But if you have a gun, you are an equalizer. There are many guys out there that are bad to the bone. I know bunches of them. And Every single one of them that I know, and I have been in the ring with them. I've been, hanging out with them. I've traveled with them. The baddest guys on the planet respect your gun. And another thing they respect, your ability to use it. It isn't holding it sideways like the thug. I tell black people all the time to talk about white folks this and we gonna take over and they gonna do this. I'm like, let me tell you something. White people go to the range, they shoot every day, and they can put in a 50 cent grouping, they can shoot lights out. Don't talk to me about who's gonna win in a gunfight. You are gonna get shot, Negro. So shut up. And when all this gun control stuff is off the plate, you know what we're going to be talking about again? We're going to be talking about Russia. We're going to be talking about how the Democrats colluded and how Obama let the Russians get away with what they got away with.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. In case you're wondering why the media cycle was so enamored with Parkland when they had 13 indictments of Russians, why would you not want to talk about that?
It was also interesting to hear Rod Rosenstein specifically say that there was nothing in this indictment that any Americans, wittingly colluded or dealings with Russians. This indictment, he kept saying.
Very good point. The indictments to come and probably convictions, criminal pleas, will provide more details, very likely, about that topic. And I think it is almost certain, in my own view at least, that there will be more indictments and convictions relating to the Russian interference and attack on our democracy, and also potential collusion involving the Trump campaign. Investigations proceed in stages. They focus on different facets. Just because this indictment has no mention of collusion or of knowing participation by Americans doesn't mean it isn't going to happen in the next indictment. And the involvement, even if the term unwittingly is used to describe it at this point, of Americans, is very, very telling.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Oh, it's very telling, all right. KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255. Just because there's nothing in this indictment doesn't mean that there's not more to come in whatever might be in the next indictment. That is, if there is even a next indictment. And oh, by the way, more details to follow. And I love this. Almost certain there will be more indictments and convictions and collusion involving the Trump campaign. First of all, there has been no collusion involving the Trump campaign. There have been no convictions. There have been 13 indictments of people who are never going to face the American justice system. Who is Mueller kidding? Nobody's in custody of these Russian people that supposedly influenced this election. And they're never going to be in custody. They're comfortably in Russia, and they will travel to the United States at some point, and it'll be a joke. The idea, there's some Russian people that put up some negative this or that, is so ridiculous. You get it. You get it. Let me tell you what else the game is. The game is to extend this out as far as they possibly can. Robert Mueller should be ashamed of himself. He should be arrested for what he's done. 13 indictments, symbolic in nature only, just to say, see, we got indictments. Wait a minute. I thought you were getting indictments against Donald Trump colluding with the Russians. Now you're saying, no, he didn't collude with them, but now that we've been digging, we found this. It's like Ferguson. We didn't find any racial stuff, but hey, let's go check the emails of every staffer in the city and see if we can find something. So they do. But you know what ultimately happened in Ferguson? Darren Wilson was freed. He was vindicated. This is identically the same. Let's get something so we can hang our hats on it and say, look at what came out of it. Nothing has come out of it. No collusion, no impact on the American electoral system. And the only thing that has impacted the American electoral system is the crooked nature of the left. These Democrats who tried, like you wouldn't believe, in ways that you couldn't even imagine if you had the imagination of Stephen King and Robin Cook and give me some other good authors, some Arthurs, as my great aunt would say. Whoever, they couldn't come up with a story like this if you put a gun to their heads. The only Russian collusion, the people who really tried to upset the democracy, the Democratic Republic, I should say, is the left. And they do it every single election. They pour money in. They pour in voters. They bring in black people by the busloads and tell these silly Negroes, you better go earn your money over there. We got chicken too and Kool-Aid. And they head over. And that's what they do. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, that whole crew, the FBI, they were all colluding together to keep Donald Trump out. And here's what's sad. The only reason why they aren't blowing the lid on this is they know the minute that they indict the real people, the lid blows off the Democrat Party. But guess what, America? Carl, you out there? It's coming. For the people that don't know the Carl reference, you don't get it. Carl's one of my listeners who says, Kevin, nothing's going to happen. Something's going to happen. See, you can't, what you have to look at, folks, forget looking at the outrage around 13 unnamed Russians. Oh, these Russians had something to do with it. These Russians got nothing to do with this case. What they're doing is they're milking it. They're trying to figure out how long can we go before we finally have to go after the real people. Why hasn't anybody gone after Steele? He wrote a fake dossier and did whatever he did. Why hasn't anybody gone after the Fusion GPS guys? They've trotted Podesta back out there just recently. We got a clip from him where he's, trying to rationalize, well, the Russians did it. If the Russians were doing it, they started it in 2014 under Barack Obama. Does anybody remember what Barack Obama said when he got asked if the Russians could interfere? He says, they can't possibly interfere in our electoral process. So which is it? They can or they can't. None of this points to Donald Trump. It points to the feckless, worthless Barack Obama and his entire administration. And he's not going to have his cake and eat it too. What it tells you, people, pay attention. It tells you the Democrats are reaching the end of the road. That's what it's telling you. And that's what's happening. 13 Russians. Is the name Vladimir Putin on there? It is Medvedev. Whose name is on there that's of any consequence that you're going to go, ooh, well, that's a mean-spirited Russian right there. Is Drago on there? What about his wife? What about his trainer? After all, he killed Apollo Creed. Where are the Russians that are of any significance to you or to me or to anybody else in this indictment? Somebody help me. They don't exist. Now, the left is going to make them bigger than life. Oh, we got to continue this. There's more to come. There's more to come. So we've got the FISA memo that they say is a big nothing burger. They released their memo that's full of, secrets that they can't get out there. And that ruse didn't work. Have you heard anything about that? Well, they won't let us see the memo and all this. No, because it's gone. It's dead. They can't have anything that sticks because you're too smart. The media can't help them. So they got 13 indictments. Not a Trump person, not a Trump satellite anywhere in view. You know what's being discussed right now? Him and that. Come on, y'all, stay with the preacher. I'm the one preaching up here. Michael Flynn. You know what Michael Flynn is doing? Michael Flynn is about to sue every one of these people in the food chain. Michael Flynn's going, what? Every time he learns something new, he finds out how much he was set up by McCabe, set up by the FBI apparatus. They got people that are talking in contradictions. One guy says one thing, Comey dispels that myth. Michael Flynn should have never been in the spotlight. He's about to be freed. How are they going to rationalize that? Oh, well, we had to let Michael Flynn go. Interesting. Who else is going to be freed? Who else will be vindicated when this is all said and done? Ask yourself, why these delay tactics? Why? What is it that they're concerned about? And the reason why I've said Flynn is a big piece of this puzzle is because Flynn had a case against the government. I mean, they had a case against him. He was about to take his plea, And Robert Mueller went, no, let's not do that. Ask yourself, why is Mueller suddenly, Mr. I'm on the case of looking for this, why is he suddenly issuing all these documents saying, no, Michael, you're free to go. You're free to go. Let me tell you why. Because if they still have Michael Flynn under in the system, he can then say, I want discovery. I now want to know how everything got to this point right here. Now, I don't know. I'm not a legal beagle. Maybe somebody's a legal person and can help me out. 844-551-8255. But I believe Mueller is saying to Flynn, we're going to let you off the hook because you've been wronged and you are entitled to understand how that occurred. How did they get information on me that, quite frankly, was innocent, in my conversations, and you use my language to trap me? But how did you have information about what I've done anyway? And I believe releasing those documents will be so damning to the left that they say, we better let this dude go, and we better let him go fast. Now, if Flynn's smart, he's going to say to the Clintons and everybody else, I ain't going nowhere unless they say in Black Talk, unless somebody give me some money. Because I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd be like, oh, no. You better call up the Clinton Foundation or call up Barack Obama and have them put some money on pallets in front of my house. They could be in Swiss francs and German Deutschmarks or euros. I don't really care. But I better have millions of dollars sitting in my backyard. I ain't going nowhere. 13 Russian indictments. These guys want to talk about the Olympics. They want to talk about the Parkland shooting and gun control when they should be talking about all these indictments.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
The Russians tried to disrupt our democracy, they say. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Last time I checked, isn't that what the Russians have always tried to do? Isn't that, by the way, what the Chinese have tried to do? Isn't that what the North Koreans have tried to do? Isn't that what the Iranians have tried to do? What are these people talking about? Glad you guys are here at KJRadio.com. 844-551-8255 if you want to contact me, the show, any of us. Look, what a farce. The Russians tried to disrupt our democracy on social media. Who knew? I mean, get rid of the spies. Let's stop playing all the different clandestine spy versus spy games that we've been playing for decades. And let's just go to social media. Let's use Facebook. Oh, I know. Most of the attacks on Facebook and Twitter were against Donald Trump. They were not pro-Hillary, in fact, but let's not let the facts of that spoil anything, because the left have to promote their crazy ideology by way of the Russian ruse. They want to make America believe that the Russians, with just over $1.5 million of advertisements on Facebook, disrupted the election that Hillary Clinton was slated to win under any terms. This deck couldn't have been more stacked. How fragile we must be, folks, if $1.5 million of social media ads, marketing by the so-called Russians is what it takes to turn over this democracy, if we are indeed this fragile, how do we get there? Who do you blame? I have an idea. Maybe it's leftism, or you know what? Maybe we aren't quite as fragile as they believe us to be, at least not on this side of the aisle, not on the side of truth. On the side of lies, if they want to be that fragile, let them be that fragile. But we're not. There's not a Russian. Well, what is a Russian going to tell me about America that's going to make me feel bad about? Kevin, you do realize that you have won the Olympics more times than you should. Okay, guilty. You know, what are you going to tell me? You no longer have the fastest sprinters in the world. Usain Bolt, go Jamaica. Oh my God, I'm so demoralized. What are you going to tell me, Ruski? You tell me that my vodka not good as yours? Okay, I get it. But you know what? It's okay. What? We can OEM it, right? Isn't that what Kirkland does? Kirkland OEMs Grey Goose or Kettle One. They don't make it. They just stick the name, Kirkland brand on it. So we don't even need to make our own vodka. We can just relabel what the Russians or the French are doing and have just as good a vodka. Something tells me Stolichnaya will sell me vodka. I put it under the Kevin Jackson name. People buy because they're fans of Kevin Jackson. Thank you very much, Vlad. So what do I need from the Russians? What could they possibly tell me? $1.5 million. That's not even a down payment on Kevin Jackson. Him and I. I know the Russians were sneaky this time. That's what my producer's like, Kevin, they were sneaky. Look, I get it. They're sneaky. That's why we call them Ruskis. Because Ruski, the root word of Ruski is sneaky in Latvian. Okay? Latin and Blackvian or something. The root word of Ruski means sneaky people, sneaky Russian people. Okay? They pretended to be Americans. That's how you did not know. When you were looking at those Facebook ads, it said, hey, I hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a terrible person, man. He sucks. Donald Trump likes to, mess around with hookers. And Donald Trump is, he's an idiot. Who knew? Those were Russians pretending to be Americans. Leftist Americans, yeah. I can't tell the difference between Vladimir Putin and Adam Schiff personally, unless you guys can. Other than Adam Schiff's got those big old Pekingese eyes. I'm sorry, but he does. He looks like a pea. He's always excited. like he's been caught. How long do Democrats think they can continue this ruse? I'm just curious. I wonder if somebody could give me an answer. Had a couple of tweets. Peter Douche's liaison is what this guy goes by. He tweeted, a $2 billion political campaign can't compete with 13 guys with dank members. They just can't. 13 Russians that nobody even knows. I mean, these are obscure Russians. Holy cow. Do I have to commit their names to memory? I'm not going to do it. Look, I have enough trouble with Muslim names. Muhammad, Nasim, Hassam, Balam, Ali, Kalam, Haha. No, I'm not committing to, okay, I've got Sheikh Muhammad, Al-Ablisi or whatever. I'm not remembering these names. It's too much to put on the mind of a black man doing radio. If your name is Jerry Johnson, boom, I got you, bro. I got you. Loretta Lynch, boom, you're in the house, girlfriend. Rod Rosenstein, I got you R squared, but I'm not going to remember all these other names, these Ruskis, with 14 different consonants looped together and in need of a vowel or two. Too much on the brain. Stolichnaya, not going to happen. Tchaikovsky, I don't even know if those are those are Russians, right? Tchaikovsky. Try to spell Tchaikovsky. Come on. Don't do it phonetically. Don't pretend you knew the T was there. Tchaikovsky. Or Patoli. Toli. With a P in front of it. You go, what? What's with the P? Like Russians had a sale on consonants and somebody goes, you better get more consonants with your toilet paper on your vodka today. Okay? Okay. I'll do it for you, honey. Yep. $2 billion political campaign. Hillary Clinton ran the most expensive campaign in the history of man and had everything to cheat. Cheated in ways that you as a human being wouldn't even know how to cheat. You didn't even know that stuff existed. BleachBit. How many people knew what BleachBit was until Hillary did? How many people went, I can delete my emails and nobody will get them? How many people even thought that was possible? Because it's not, okay? BleachBit. How many of you have ever taken a hammer to your phone, your mobile phone? I got 15 X mobile phones around, man, and I've never taken a hammer to one. They're still sitting around. I took the batteries out. So you got Hillary Clinton spending over $1 billion, well over $1 billion to get elected, even cheating and scamming against the American public. And they want to tell you that the Russians were so powerful, they influenced all this stuff. Forget these illegals that voted. Got driver's licenses in states and voted. Forget these re-enfranchised criminals that they got out of prisons to vote. Forget the shuffling around of voters from state to state that got lined up in buses and voted all over the country. And the same thing with the Antifa and the various other millennials and Black Lives Matter. Everything stacked against Donald Trump. Forget all the violence that they put against Trump people and the threats of violence and so on and so forth. It was the Russians, man. Who knew they had that kind of power? These suckers are powerful. I don't know of a Russian superhero, but there's got to be one. Is Black Panther a Russian superhero? Or is that just black? Any black Russians? Just saying. Powerful people. Andrew Klavan said this, just read the Mueller indictment start to finish. The Russians wanted to spread disinformation in order to turn Americans against one another. They could have just gotten jobs at CNN. Boom. How true is that? Misinformation stir up strife against, fellow Americans? How about Black Lives Matter? How about Antifa? How about the mantra, the charter, if you will, of the Democratic Party? That's what spreads information, misinformation. And of course, all the complicit media, including social media. If anybody was helping spread misinformation, I guarantee you Facebook was one of them. Robert Barnes said this. He says, which is a greater threat to American democracy? A few foreign trolls with low-level social media accounts trying parodies and fake protest, or the highest ranks of the FBI, CIA, DOJ shading an investigation to immunize one candidate and smear and spy on the other candidate? I give you the truth. Can you dig it? I mean, how far do you want to go with this, Democrat leftist? If you're listening to this program, explain to me how you would be looking at this if we flipped the players and Donald Trump was doing all the things that we're talking about with the media complicity, as well as the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA, and the FISA courts, etc. How would you feel? What would you be saying then? Would you be so free to just ignore it? I don't think so. I think you'd be up in arms. And here's the difference. We on the right, we would be right with you, up in arms, saying we want Trump out. We believe this is a criminal matter, blah, blah, blah. More to come.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Saw a sticker on a watermelon in a grocery store and it said boneless. I'm not joking. Welcome to the Kevin Jackson Show. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you listen to a black man, KJRadio.com, phone number 844-551-8255. Do me a favor. Jot that website down, KJRadio.com. Jot down this phone number, 844-551-8255, because I want to hear from each of you on something at some point in my life. Let's just do that. Let's agree. You listen to me. Why not be a part of what we do? And remember, hey, Kevin, mentioned me on my show. He responded back. It could just be, dude, love your show, or hey, man, like your show, but you're not as good as Limbaugh. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to get after you. I promise. I may say, hey, somebody wrote to me, said I'm not as good as Limbaugh. And I'll say, yeah, look at this idiot. No, I'm kidding. I'll say to each his own. But you're listening. I'll go, yeah, but you may say that, but you're listening. That's what I would say. I wouldn't be mad at you. I'd say, you maybe you have a style that you like. Maybe you suffer from white privilege. Maybe you do not understand the black man. Maybe you are a racist. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking, man. I'm just playing. We do want to hear from you guys, though. Seriously. All of you, at some point, you contact me, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Kevin Jackson TBS, at Kevin Jackson TBS. That's for the Black Sphere, for those of you who don't know. Anyway, so I see this watermelon, the sticker on the watermelon, it says boneless. But this is at a grocery store. Now, it was a graphic sent to me, and it says, Kevin, what's wrong with this picture? And I see this very succulent piece of watermelon wrapped in plastic, and it says boneless on it. And I was thinking, what? Who knew watermelon had bones? I've been just sucking down watermelon my whole life. I've never deboned one. Never. And I'm sitting there going, what? And I was thinking as I looked at that sticker of that watermelon on a piece of, just sitting on its rind, wrapped in plastic with the sticker that some grocery store clerk put on there that said boneless. And I was thinking, I bet it's gluten-free too. Why didn't they stick a gluten-free on there? Now, here's the deal. I've seen seedless on a watermelon, and I'll be blunt. It's not always seedless. It kind of upsets me because when I get a seedless watermelon, I just want to slice it, doop, 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 cut it into pieces, and start chowing down on that bad boy. You know what I'm saying? But when it's seedless, it's not really seedless. What they mean is it doesn't have any black seeds. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's about to get racial up in here. Yeah, it's about to get racial up in this Kevin Jackson show up here in my joint because they say seedless and they omit the black seeds. And every now and then in a seedless watermelon, come on, hang with me, white people, you find one of them black seeds, don't you? Be honest. And what do you do? What do you do when you find that black seed? Do you go back to the store and go, you sold me a seedless watermelon and it had a black seed in it? I know that's what y'all do. Okay, you may not do that, but you flick that black seed away. But what do you do with those little white seeds, the little flimsy ones? Huh? You know what I hear? White boys tell me, now I don't know. I'm putting it out there. White boys tell me, Kev, I just eat those. I'm like, what? Even in my seedless watermelon, when I find the white seeds, boop, 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 I pick them out and I toss them away the same way if I found a black seed. That's right. No discrimination of seeds with the seedless watermelon in the Kevin Jackson household. Now, I don't know how you treat it. Told you. It's tough over here. This is a radio show where you learn stuff about yourself. See, you're getting a lesson in how your watermelon etiquette is going on right now. You're being schooled. I'm watching you. Next time you eat a melon, you will remember this segment on the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. Mark it down. Yeah. And so, just to recap for people joining, because people say, you join at different times if they don't know what I'm talking about. Got sent a picture of a watermelon wrapped in plastic. Some grocery store clerk put on that watermelon boneless. Now, freak me out. It's not like fish. Get it. Boneless fish. Every now and then you find a bone. Boneless watermelon. Who knew? Maybe my whole life I've been eating boneless watermelons, and now I want to go find a watermelon with the bones. Maybe it's more succulent. It's like a T-bone. Sometimes that bone in it makes it better, like bone-in T-bone or bone-in ribeye. Yeah. I like a bone-in ribeye, personally. You know why I like a bone-in T-bone? Because you get to see the eye and that other piece of meat. That eye is the most succulent part. Anyway, I didn't realize there were boned watermelons, which only goes to figure there's probably some big boned watermelons that they give to the big girls. You know what I mean? Them big bone girls. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what about this? Could watermelon, I said earlier, maybe it's gluten free as well. Maybe the next sticker they'll put on there is gluten free, Kevin, because they got organic. What's organic? It's not grown with pesticides. I don't care. If it's grown with pesticides, that just means the bugs didn't deform it and bite on the outside of it. I'm going to eat what's on the inside. I ain't eating what's on the outside. Oh, those chemicals leach in. Whatever. I've been eating watermelon my whole life, boneless watermelon, just to be clear. And I'm never worried about what the pesticide. I'm alive. My great-grandmother lived to be, 97? My great-grandfather lived to be 93. They ate watermelon, man. We used to go, when I visited them, they would bring the watermelon truck to the house. You didn't even have to go to the store to get it. Y'all think I'm lying. I'm telling you the truth. But I'm guessing watermelon probably got antioxidants, right? I mean, I don't even know I know antioxidant means it's non-oxygenated. And supposedly that's good for you. But then what about the hyperbaric chamber? I hear that's good for you. That's mega oxygen. So what am I getting at here, folks? I'm getting at the ruse, the marketing, if you will, of your life. Why shouldn't food get in on the gravy train of boneless watermelons? So what? There is no such thing as a boned watermelon. Just stick it on there. There'll be some stupid snowflake, that's probably a better word, snowflake college kid that'll go, oh, look here, hon, I brought home a boneless watermelon. Oh, my honey, you're the best. And they'll go laugh and do each other's hair. Anyway, so who knows? Antioxidant, gluten-free. Get in on the gravy train, watermelon. Don't miss out, is what I'm trying to tell the watermelon lobby. Don't miss out, baby. Go get yours. Go get that money. Shoot. And I'll just keep buying a regular one that's not marked boneless, antioxidant, and gluten-free and paying a little less money for it. Or, what they call it, organically grown. I'll just get the regular stuff. We're going to have some fun today, folks. You're listening to Kevin Jackson, KJRadio.com. Jot that down, 844-551-8255.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
But now we have a president who can't make it through a ceremony honoring Native American war heroes without reducing Native history, Native culture, Native people to be the butt of a joke. The joke, I suppose, is supposed to be on me. And I get why some people think there's hay to be made here. You won't find my family members on any rolls. I'm not enrolled in a tribe. And I want to make something clear. I respect that distinction. I understand that tribal membership is determined by tribes and only by tribes. I never used my family tree to get a break or get ahead. I never used it to advance my career.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was Senator Elizabeth Warren, and she's trying to clean up her record. That's all that was. That was Elizabeth Warren still claiming to be an Indian when we know she's a fake Indian. Now she wants to pretend that she's got creds. I understand that the only way that you can become an Indian is when you're on the registry. What she's saying is, I don't know what she's done. She's probably gone back, got Ancestry.com or somebody to put an Indian in her, and it's probably cut and pasted too, like Cochise. Cut and pasted as her great-great-great-great-grandpa. But she's going to claim Indian heritage because you know what? She believes that if she can now start to put this different spin on the lie, we're going to be okay with it. There are many people that are going, oh, it's okay. And then what's funny is she then makes the claim. She says, I didn't use that to get ahead. I didn't claim that anywhere. Look, guys, do you want me to bore you and go look up all the instances where Elizabeth Warren, where Harvard said, we have our own minority here, Elizabeth Warren, who claims to be, she didn't say the claims, who is an American Indian. And at least 5 occasions where this woman got crazy money on federal forms, checking off that box. This is her. Somebody's probably saying, you're our only viable candidate. We've got to clean you up. They did the same thing to Barack Obama. I can take you back to a law firm who started talking about, we have a great candidate, but he was born in another country. Why is it that we have to have that distinction in our, in terms of running for president? Why does that have to be something that disqualifies? And they had already set the stage for Obama. They knew they couldn't get him in, so they fabricated who he is. And for the record, I don't care. His mom was American. People get mad at me for saying this. I don't care. Barack Obama's mother was an American. I get the technicalities on her age and all this other stuff. But his mom is an American, and he, whatever instances, he was born somewhere in America. I mean, they say he was born in Kenya, but his mother, if she had the baby in Kenya, it wouldn't be any different for me than, she's a white chick, American, carrying her baby on a vacation in Kenya, has the baby there. I don't care. That's his mom. But here's what I care about. The all fabricated other stuff. His dad was a goat herder who went to Harvard. No, his daddy wasn't. His daddy was a radical dude who bumped up his mom because she was having a fling. Big deal. I mean, my dad was in prison. Here's me, Mr. President. I'm running for president. I say, yeah, my mom, who was in the process of divorcing my dad, but, I'm going to clean it up and go, no. They were separated at the time. And then later, my dad, he would be exiled. Yeah, exiled to San Quentin. He was in prison. Clean it up. Oh, no, my dad, he was really brilliant. He was exiled for quite some time. And then I got to see him at the ripe old age of 16. And he didn't want to talk about it. But the rumor is that he went to live in Kenya where he goat herded. Whatever. That sucker was in San Quentin prison, a stick-up man, robbed some white dude of $20,000 back in the day. That was a lot of money. And went on a drug binge and got caught and went to prison. Boom. What? What about it? But they got to glamorize Barack Obama's life. Oh, he did this, and then he went to live in Indonesia, and then he did this, and he trained at a madrasa. He's a freaking Muslim-worshipping, half-white, half-black dude whose mom was so promiscuous maybe they don't know who his daddy is, but I think it's Frank Marshall Davis. But who cares? Half the black people in this country don't know who their daddies are. So why do I care? But Elizabeth Warren wants you to believe look, let me tell you something. Look at my DNA. Go look at my DNA report. It got, Kevin's great-great-grandfather was Stephen Burton. Great-great-grandfather was Stephen Ford. And then once it goes back from there, boom, owned by Plantation Time. And my great-grandmother, she was a half Navajo Indian. I can go back to her, one generation of her, then boom, she's on the reservation and other relatives were on a plantation. End of story. Now, was she owned by Indians at some point? Possibly. Indians owned slaves. Yeah, they got into the market. But what I'm getting at is, I don't know. And at the end, I don't know. I don't care. That's where it ends. I can't go back any further. But let me tell you what Elizabeth Warren can do. She could go all the way back. She could here's what I would say to Elizabeth Warren. Run your ancestry DNA or your 23andMe and put it out public and let the public go back and look at your lineage, and we will determine if indeed you are of Indian heritage, because I don't think she is. I think she's lying through her teeth, and I believe she has benefited from this greatly, and she's still trying to benefit. If Elizabeth Warren had any couth, she would say, look, I thought, growing up, I never looked at it, but I thought we were Indians. Now that I've learned through my ancestry DNA that we're not, I'm no longer going to say that. I've had an affinity for them. I've loved the Native American culture. Having grown up thinking that, it was a wonderful thing to think. But now that I know the truth, no harm, no foul, I apologize. And if she did get ahead because of that, I would just say, and here's the thing. Having thought that and no way to verify it, or not wanting to verify it, it's benefited me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start making a donation to the tribal council of my Indian co-chiefs or whoever, and I'm going to make it right. Then I could forgive her. But you know what that scoundrel won't do? Exactly what I just said. Because she loves you to believe the narrative. Instead of telling you the truth, what she does? That Donald Trump, he's mean, and he's calling me Pocahontas, and I am really Indian, and now I've got a way that I've been trying to, go back and play with my ancestry so that I can make you believe it. That's all she cares about, making you believe her lie. That is what the left does. And sadly, this is the sad part. Everybody would be much more sympathetic if she just told the truth. That's all she's got to do. It's not in their DNA, people. Look, I don't know if you've raised kids. If you have kids or people that you care about, you tell them all the time, look, it's a lot easier if you just fess up. Don't propagate it. It's too difficult. Stop lying.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Do you expect the games to end with Democrats? It's a legitimate question. Don't y'all looking at me like look, I already said it. I said the Democrats will soon end the games. But I put a qualifier. It'll happen late this year. It'll happen probably, it'll be after the election. It'll be between November, after the election and the Christmas holidays. They will end the charade. Up till then, they're going to fight like a rabid dog. Or what, is that a good analogy? They're going to fight like a Tasmanian devil. Is that better for you? They're going to fight. Their backs are against the wall. They're going to fight. So for those of you who are out there going, when is this going to end? Kevin, when do the games end? When do these people finally stop messing with us? When do they finally fess up and say, I was just talking about Elizabeth Warren the other day. I said, Elizabeth Warren still wants you to believe she's an Indian. Rachel Dolezal still wants you to believe she's a black woman. I want you to understand something. I want to go back to Dolezal because that's a good example. Do you remember the interview when Dolezal, they go, well, aren't you white? You're not African American. And she was like, well, I feel African American. No, but your biological parents are white. Now, she had been saying her biological father was black. It was a lie. When Rachel Dolezal was asked a direct question regarding the ethnicity, her ethnicity and the ethnicity of her parents, she said, I feel black. Why would you ask me this question? She did everything except tell you the truth. Elizabeth Warren, found out to be a fake Indian, gets called Pocahontas, wants to make it about Indians. And there are Indians all over the country going, we don't care. We don't care. They make movies about Pocahontas. She a clown. There's nobody denigrating her. Everybody understood what Donald Trump was saying, but now she wanted to push it off and make that into something else. Adam Schiff has been caught. Hillary Clinton has been caught. James Comey has been caught. Barack Obama has been caught. Bill Clinton has been caught. McCabe has been caught. Strzok has been caught. Page has been caught. I could build momentum and keep going at that. You get what I'm saying? These people have been caught. They've been found out. We know exactly what they've done. They can obfuscate. They can try to, play set up smoke and mirrors and tell you, look over here and do whatever they want. We know what's going on. And they still won't say a word. By the way, Carl sent me a note and he told me he's still there. He still listens to the show and he's waiting. He doesn't believe that these people are going to be prosecuted. Carl, they're going to be prosecuted. And I think that most of the audience, I don't have Zogby here, I don't have Rasmussen, but I think the audience is starting to believe me that we're about to start getting indictments. Because let me tell you, these people lawyering up, they don't want to admit it, but then you start getting a little more evidence. What's funny to me is Schiff says, if the Republicans release their document, it's going to be Armageddon. We can't release it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. You cannot do it. It will expose trade secrets. It's tradecraft of the FBI. Republicans release it. Then they go, much ado about nothing. I don't even understand it. It wasn't a big deal. Okay. Oh, let's just play along for a little bit. Then the Democrats do what? We're going to release ours. We need to have a follow-up. That's what part of the discussion is. We need to have ours out there. So then they laced it with materials that you really can't release to the public. And I've already talked about this, but we knew what was coming up. We knew the gamesmanship that was being played. So, of course, Donald Trump says, all right, it's got too many things in it that would expose tradecraft. It's exactly what they said would happen if the Republicans exposed theirs. So they said, we're not going to let it out, and Donald Trump sent it back. And I want to read this story. This is from the Daily Caller. White House problems with the Democrats' rebuttal memo on the surveillance of Trump associates are genuine. And the document could disclose, quote, sources and methods. California Representative Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, confirmed. We need to go through that and identify that which remains classified, would implicate sources and methods or investigative interests, he said at a newsmakers breakfast meeting on Wednesday, sponsored by the Christian Science Monitor. His comments constituted a direct rebuke to his party's top boss in the House of Representatives, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. White House counsel Don McGahn said in a statement on Friday that Trump was inclined but unable to declassify the Democrats' 10-page memo because it contains numerous properly classified and especially sensitive passages, and this is according to Politico. So what's funny is Schiff, who didn't want the Republicans' version of this released, it puts theirs out there knowing that it's got that in it. They all make a big brouhaha about how he won't release it because he has to declassify stuff and because it's a setup. One that you could easily spot. But anyway, then Schiff comes out himself, and he says it. Which way is up for these guys? Let me talk to the Democrats for just a second. Radio audience listening to the Kevin Jackson Show. Democrats, when do you find enough shame to leave your party? When is enough enough? You have a man who put himself on the line, was ridiculed when he ran for president. And then he won. And he won against all odds. I've yesterday and maybe a week before, I talked about Hillary Clinton and the mountain that she built so she could ascend the throne. She did everything. How Donald Trump won is nothing short of an act of God. Somebody could be put into sainthood for getting this man elected. I don't know who it is. I know we moved a lot of the black vote. my team, and that's going to be our focus in 2018 and 2020. So we did our part. And then the Tea Party movement did its part, so I'll take a little credit for that too with teapartycommunity.org. I hope you go join up. So we have that. And then the Christians came out and supported Donald Trump. A certain amount of youth supported him. Bernie people abandoned Bernie and Hillary once Bernie turned out to be a sellout. They voted for him. Yeah, a lot of people came in, but it was divine intervention that finally got Trump elected. How are you still a Democrat? I just would love for somebody on the left to tell me how you can be a Democrat. Forget that you're the party of slavery. Forget that you're the party of oppression. Forget that you're the party of no ideas, because you philosophically may still agree with all of that. But how do you now look at your leadership? How do you look at a Barack Obama who signed off, who weaponized the IRS, the IRS too, but the FBI, and essentially said to the FBI, check in with me and let me know how things are going? How do you stay with him? How do you stay with Hillary Clinton after everything that this woman did, from cheating and essentially buying the DNC with money that she got from a bunch of poor Haitians, running a racketeering organization, a mafioso family that was using her position within the State Department to do so, while running a private server, private email system hidden in her basement bathroom closet with a separate IT staff. Then she gets caught, deletes 33,000 emails claiming that it was all about yoga and Chelsea's wedding. That turned out not to be true. Then, on top of all of that, bleach bidding her server, beating up her BlackBerry so nobody could get to the information, saying, I want it all out in the open. And then cheating Bernie Sanders out of the actual nomination, lying about getting the questions in advance by Donna Brazile, and on, getting help from the President of the United States in order to thwart Donald Trump. And then we find out the FBI is helping her. How can you stay with a party like that? I'll tell you this. I would abandon the Republicans if they were that way. And by the way, I can't stand these weak-kneed sissies on the right. They're a bunch of weak-kneed sissies. But you know what? I believe in my heart of hearts that, and I'm going to balance this statement by telling you that I don't trust them. But I do know this. From a policy perspective, they will at least give me a shot. What you witnessed that happened to Donald Trump is what the left will do in an instance. And if they can do that with a billionaire, with the reputation of Donald Trump, what can they do to you? There's only one choice here, and it is to vote Republican. But it's not because they deserve it necessarily. It's because we are finally getting the right people in there. How do you stay? How can you possibly support these people? How can you support Adam Schiff? How can you support Chuck Schumer? If you're a Latino and you've been, voting Democrat your whole life, how can you stay there when you watch these guys play with your life? I'm talking about these DACA kids. If you're black and voting for these clowns, how can you watch what the Congressional Black Caucus does and how they're used like tools and you stay with them? It's insane. Anyway, we got a lot more to talk about. I got to run. I got to pay some bills.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Normally, we have a much more cheery day. Oh, man. Let me just tell you, don't take all this stuff too much to heart. It's the world we live in. And it can be a cruel world, but we never know what the lessons are that we're being taught, I guess is the way to put it. And what looks like a tragedy, and is a tragedy, and I'm talking about the shooting in Florida, the school shooting. There's more that comes out of this stuff. You don't know where these lessons are going to come from. So, don't look at it through the prism of just the tragic part of it. We've already highlighted a hero, Aaron Feist, the coach, who gave his life to save his students. What's going to be the impact? What's going to be the long range of that? Probably quite a bit of good stuff. I mean, you think about the notion of somebody doing that for you. That's pretty powerful stuff. That's the love of a parent to a child. And here's a guy, these weren't his kids. Biologically speaking. At least I don't think so. So here he is saying, parents, you entrusted me with your kids. I'll give my life for them. What about the parents? What are they going to be thinking about that man? How long will it last? I don't know. I don't even really care. Because as I say to you guys all the time, I'm not that concerned about a legacy, give or take. I mean, we want to leave something behind. But if that's your focus, find something better to do. But this coach is going to be in memory for quite some time of people that he saved and the people that watched it happen and those that remember him. And he probably had he had already made an impact on these kids. If he's willing to give his life for them, my venture is he's probably done a lot more leading up to that. So that's a good thing. We never know what's going to come out. Anyway, I want to shift gears. I want to talk about a few things that we'll never get to if I don't talk about them, like this lion. This poacher that got killed by lions. Did you guys see this story? Here it is. Here's a quick little synopsis. It says a big cat poacher has been killed and eaten by the pride of lions he was hunting at a private game reserve in South Africa. The hunter was heard screaming for help as he was attacked at the Igualala Private Nature Reserve in Hoedspruit outside of Phalaborwa, South Africa. It says, but the lions quickly killed their victim and devoured most of his body before being chased off. They left his head untouched. I mean, that's gangsta lion killing right there, baby. They didn't eat all the evidence where you go, I wonder what was it? Where did he go? Anybody seen, Whoobazoo? No. They left his head almost like a jihadist. It's opposite of jihadists, right? They left this dude's head as if to say, yeah, mess with us and this is what you get, baby. I just found that so peculiar. I wonder if they'd been left alone, would they have eaten the head? I don't know, because they got chased off supposedly. Now, I don't want these lions touched. I don't want them killed or anything. I think if you're out there trying to kill lions and poaching them and they come up on you and tap you on the shoulder and go, bad day for you, brother, and eat you, good for them. You want to go out there and admire them, get in your Jeep and drive along and go, hey, Mr. Lion, Miss Lion and the pride, hey, kiddos, whatever, and you keep on cruising, and you get eaten in, I'd be mad at the lions, even though I will say you are in their neighborhood, and they can be territorial. They don't know if you're going to do a drive-by. And having been in one of those types of environments, I will tell you it's harrowing, but you feel alive. Yeah. And they weren't hunting lions, thankfully. They were hunting Cape Buffalo when I was there. And it was in Kenya. So anyway, I don't feel sorry for this guy. I would like to. There's a part of me that believes I'm supposed to. Well, let me ask you, you guys, do you feel sorry for a guy who sneaks into a private nature reserve to go poach lions? And why is he poaching them? Because they get hundreds of dollars per tooth. They get money for the paws. They get money for the manes. They get money for, there's all these supposed, it's not like tiger penis or whatever with the aphrodisiacs, but they do get all kinds of dollars for every piece of this lion. That's what I've heard. The skin, all of it. And so Do you feel sorry for a guy that's going? I get it. One lion might be a year's worth of work for him or whatever. I don't know. Go get a legitimate job, man. This is God's creatures out here, and we need to leave them alone and let them do what they do. I don't. Do I feel that way for what? Guinea fowl? No. There's plenty of them. They're going to breed and all that, but we're talking about majestic animals that roam the plains and just minding their business, and hopefully we don't encroach on them so much that they're extinct. But I heard there's only 20,000 lions left in the wild. We've almost gotten rid of a lot of stuff. And look, I'm not one of these guys that I'm a guy that says, you'll survive, and you got to deal with man. But there are certain animals like the great apes, the gorillas, the mountain gorillas. Leave them alone. Leave the tigers alone. Some of these animals need to do what they do. Anyway, that was one thing I was thinking about. Then I saw this story. This is one that I really find interesting. Food stamp. For one grocery chain alone, $885.6 million worth of junk food purchased by food stamp recipients. So here's the rank, the item, and the sales. Number one. Well, here's what I'll do. Let me give you the items, and then you tell me if you can pick out which number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here we go. We got chips, we got candy, we got soda, ice cream, cookies, and cake. So I'm going to repeat that. We got chips, soda, candy, ice cream, cookies, and cakes. Now, there's a whole bunch, but just out of that, what do you think is number one? What do you think is number one? You say chips. Why would I give you number one at chips if I said it first? I'm just giving you some logic in case you want to change your mind. Yeah, candy. You say candy? Okay, what about soda? All right, so here's the numbers. My producers, you're wrong, by the way. You guys are wrong. Okay, number one, soda. $358 million in soda. $358 million. Chips, number two, $199 million. Candy, number three, $96 million. Ice cream. Oh, I'm sorry. Candy's number 11. Ice cream's number 15. $86 million. Cookies, $78 million. Cakes, $68 million. That's a lot. That can't be right. Those numbers can't be. Let's see. Rank, item, and sales. So rank, yeah, that's the rank. Oh, I get it. Because what they did is they did the rank, like number one is soda, and then number two might be, say, diapers. You got it? So anyway, 1 is soda, 4 is chips, 11 is candy, 15 is ice cream, 17 is cookies, and 22 is cakes. That total amount of junk food, $885.6 million purchased by food stamp recipients. So almost $1 billion. If we round up, I know we're $14.4 million away, but that's still significant. Oh, $114.4 billion. But that's a big number. You shouldn't be able to buy that with food stamps. And that's kind of the point of it. Would you have guessed that that's how much money we spend in food stamp purchases? I never would have guessed that in a million years, that we would spend that kind of coin in food stamp purchases. I get, you want to reward the kids with a cake or something every now and then, and maybe you want to do a birthday cake or something like that. Maybe you could do a little allowance for that. But geez, excuse me, $886 million, 885.6. Here's another story we never got to. Judge who marries gays wins settlement. Gail Myrick, an evangelical Christian and former magistrate, was forced out when she refused to perform civil marriage ceremonies for same-sex couples due to her religious beliefs. She's been awarded $300,000 by North Carolina, the state, and a settlement agreement. $122,660 in back pay. Settlement comes a year after an administrative law judge ruled that the state violated civil rights laws by forcing Myrick to resign as a Union County magistrate in October of 2014, soon after gay marriage was legalized. She's 68 years old. It said, this case is about protecting the dignity of everyone in our diverse society. Faith and sexual orientation are deeply important to the identity of many people, and these two things don't have to be at odds with each other. The state of North Carolina should not have discriminated against Gail Myrick for her sincerely held religious beliefs about marriage. This is what the Heritage Foundation is saying. I completely agree. Look, if they change the law, you get hired and they say, here's the law. How do you feel about it? This is exactly the way I feel. Then they change it and they go, now you have to adjust. And you go, no, I don't. You want me to adjust what I feel? No, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, I got to leave it there, guys.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.